Okay, bye. Good morning. Let's try to do my best to look semi-presentable. I'm not doing my best, but I believe. If you stopped eating cat poop, we could be such better friends. Ew. Bro, don't lick. Don't lick. She doesn't have sheep, so she kicks her own face. And she's so neurotic. As much as I love Miss Billie Jean, I would never recommend just a small family to get a freaking border collie because they need a place to run. They need sheep to chase. So good morning. Who's here with me? This next chapter looks interesting. I already see, hey, be polite. You're being a little aggressive. I already see Eminem lyrics, Jay-Z. We're starting here. So I've been getting some negative feedback. And I don't know if you know, and I forget her name. It's Imam. Or no, it's not Imam. What's her name? She did that Good Citizen song. Let's see. I'll pull it up on YouTube Music. And I'll tell you her name. And I shared a photo she had posted where she's holding up a sign that says it's okay to be wrong. And we need to be able to be wrong, because that way when we're told something like JFK's assassination wasn't what we were told. Hi guys. Happy day. It is. Then we can accept it. And when we're presented with evidence that makes us capable of changing our minds, which is a life skill, and then not only that, but being able to hold yourself accountable is crucial to maintaining your tribe and your connections with people. And let me find her. Iyah May, Iyah May. And she is just darling. She's brilliant. She's a doctor who makes music, and she got a record deal. And then they listened to her songs and they were like, no, you can't sing about, all of the things that you're singing about. And she's like, then fine, who needs you? And she's doing pretty good. So let me see if let me pull up just her, and then you can go and find her. And I don't know if you keep up on my posts or not, but that's where this was. Let's see. Iyah May, she's so cute, and she's got such thoughtful, brilliant music. And it is okay to be wrong, friends. And it's okay to admit that you are wrong. Like I'm a former Democrat, and I was very vocal about how I was leaving the left and voting for Trump this past election cycle. And at this point, I feel that it wasn't a good vote because of what's happening in Iran and how it looks like he's floundering. And there's such a split, and they call it the podcast wars that's splitting up the right. But I consider myself a conservative, but an independent, not only because I'm learning through the protocols and through this Tavistock book how deep it runs, that they use both sides of the coin in order to control us, but that I was so vocal. And then when Charlie was killed, I mean, it was the catalyst of a grand awakening, not just a gosh, what's the word? I'm losing my my words right now. Revival, but it was also this grand awakening that we could see, wow, his friends aren't acting right. Holy smokes, his wife, like when they're during the memorial service was when I was tears. I was crying. I wanted so much to love her. And then she was talking and I was like, oh my God, I don't believe any of this. I don't believe her. And when she said, I forgive him, I am the daughter of a criminal defense attorney. He's dead now, but he ingrained those values into me that in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And that felt like manipulation. She wanted us to believe that Tyler Robinson is who did the deal when it didn't seem like that to me. We also had all these Twitter posts saying it was going to happen. And so anyway, and then admitting to my family that I don't feel good about my vote anymore, it just has given them free reign to just, initially they didn't want to talk to me anymore and we've warmed back up, but now they've got cannon fodder, if you know what I'm saying. So yes, straight up sovereign. Yep. Yeah, I couldn't at all. Never in my life would I ever have voted for Kamala because I was told to, because she was a woman, because of her complexion, and because of abortion. There's much more important things that should be on the minds of women and people in general than just abortion. And I felt so insulted by the left and by all of my friends who came to me and said, you want to lose your rights, or you're going to take those rights away from my daughter? And I'm like, I didn't used to be pro-life, but I am now, because I see Margaret Sanger and eugenics and how that's all kind of translated into this healthcare. I'm off on a tangent. We're here for book club, though, and this book is incredible. And somebody had commented and said that you used to not be able to say the word Tavistock on certain social media platforms, and that, I guess, isn't the case anymore. At age 55, I started reading the Bible, and I'm like, so much answers, and seeing the cycle again. Charlie's such a good man. And close to what Jesus Christ lived on earth and was the sacrifice, which, yeah, and he was such a martyr. And I feel like that's why it hit so many people so hard. And that's why the demons were laughing, and not to say humans are demons, but they sure do get, infiltrated. I don't want to just say possessed, but that's what it is. We invite them in. We have no idea that we do that. I think we're going to get into that here, because some of the no, I'm talking. Don't interrupt. But the words we use is this headline, right? And then right after that, I wanted to be able to create a bit of a description that would draw people into the book itself. But then I turn the page, M&Ms, in Jay-Z, Why in Plain Sight, ritualistic murder. I don't know. My channel just went monetized. Lee Harvey Oswald. So it ties in. I'm so excited to get into this. Let's just do that. There is no left and right. Yeah. See, I'm not sure I will vote. I think I'm going to vote with my behavior, and we're moving soon. We're still hunting for a house, which is obnoxious at this point. Billy, stop eating the bunny food. Go kennel up. I was being polite by saying food because it's really the little beady bead turds, and she wants to come and lick me on my face. Yeah, I'm so sick of, and then knowing that I voted for Trump because of his policies, because of his conviction, because of the way that he was so utterly honest and brutally honest. And I figured he couldn't be bought, but then Adelson came out and gave him $250 million. I guess that was the price. Maybe there was more. Maybe it was the shot to the ear. Maybe it is just the tactics. They have him in such a bubble. He thinks that everybody is stoked. And I'm over here, like, I hear him talk, and I'm like, who is he listening to? And we need to send up a smoke signal or something so that he knows that he left us behind. Yeah, I don't know. Thomas Massey, the way that they're going after him, and the way that, like, half of the right are like, oh, what a crook and stuff. And I'm like, where, when, how? He has a track record that has maintained. He's been consistent, just America first. Yeah, I'm pissed too, man. I appreciate you saying that. And I also, like, I don't feel like I have much to offer. I'm not here doing it because I think that I can persuade or what have you, but I do want to share information. And I can't talk about these things with my friends because, like, my bestie at this point, she's like, just give me the cliff notes. And then her eyes glaze over. And then if I talk to my mom about anything, then she gets irate, like triggered into yelling at me for having any kind of opinion. She thinks I don't deserve to have an opinion. But I'm 43, man. I've lived, I'm a mom. I have a home I own outright that I'm trying to figure out if I should sell it or rent it out. But this housing market, it's wild. It's wild. Yes, he is the gentleman who just resigned. He was in an office with Tulsi. Tulsi also posted something, and it's clear that she was told to write something up in defense of Trump's decision, it seems to me. Because I know Tulsi, and she used to sell shirts that said "No war with Iran," and she said, I and my office compile the intelligence that is given then to the president of the United States, and then it is his job to decide whether or not something's a threat or whether to act and so forth." And she's like, I provided the information, he made the choice. And she kind of left it like that. It was a little bit open-ended, and I respect that from Tulsi. I also respect that she is kind of still the only one, in the administration who hasn't succumbed to, Zionistic control tactics. Yeah, $250 million she gave him. And I guess that even for, the likes of Trump. I also saw somebody said that, Jared Kushner is Trump's handler, and that checks out too. Checks out. It checks out. All right, friends, I'm going to start reading. It's not that long of a chapter, but it is deep reading. So, Killing of the King, Kennedy. And this is when I think the United States, as the idea it was from the forefathers, perished. Everyone loves listening to music, but how many really understand the meaning of the lyrics and its effects on the listeners? I'm going to stop there because Sexy Red, if you've ever heard of her, she is trash personified, just ratchet. If you were to look up what ratchet meant, you would see Sexy Red. And turns out she's a CIA plant, a CIA asset, and her role is it's important. What was it? Gosh, is pertinent. Maybe this is what I need. Need a little lip pillow, they call them. Popping pillows. What? For cultural reasons. They need her as an asset for cultural reasons. Anyway, many of the mainstream songs you hear that make it to the top of the Billboard charts, and also, I'm sorry, this chapter I was so excited to dive into because this is up my alley. Pop, metal, hard rock, even hip hop these days, it is so mild and inartistic, and it really takes, like IMA, it really takes digging to find the good stuff. Rosalia, love her. I mean, and she did a song with Bjork at the Brit Awards that was amazing. Every time I watch it, I get tears. But I forget there's a word for that where if you listen to music or if you watch movies, I'm just a blubbering mess. If it's good and if it's artistic and if it's honest. Even in books, I'll start reading and just tears come. So many of the mainstream songs you hear that make it to the top of the Billboard charts have very important meanings and significance. We tend to ignore things we don't understand, focusing our attention on the words themselves instead of the deeper meaning behind the words, such as imagery, symbolism, historic references, and the occult within the lyrics. Combined with visual representations of the songs, our senses are bombarded by a whole range of emotions that appeal to our subconscious. What I'm about to tell you may shock you so profoundly that you think twice about reading this. Be forewarned, you don't have to believe it, but if you are prepared to disbelieve it, at least give me the benefit of reading it through once. Love that. And that's what, like, when I hear criticism against my position and my desire to like share with you the information I see about Erica, it's because I was so invested. Charlie, I was introduced to him ages ago, and then COVID hit and I started listening to what he had to say. Before that, I was very deeply leftist and I had zero desire to hear what he had to say because all my friends were like, ew, he's a Nazi, he's gross. And then I listened and I'm like, oh my God, he really cares about America and Americans. Where was I going? You don't have to believe it, but if you're prepared to disbelieve it, because that is a choice, you know? And I feel like I'm going to put information out there in hopes that it reaches people who don't agree with me so we can talk about it. And so many of the people who don't agree with me are just so rigid in their inability to talk about it. And that's where we get hung up as society. All right, words we use. Most people never remember the whole song, but snippets of a song, mostly the chorus that consists of catchy words or plays on words. We hum the song along with the radio until we come to the part of the chorus where a few brief lines we happily sing along with the artist, mindlessly repeating the words we memorized. Let's take a look at some songs. You will start to notice a pattern. We are in a crowded auditorium. Lights go out and the camera zooms in on two individuals on a stage. A white man with a red baseball hat and a foul-mouthed black man in a white beret. What the F are you talking about? Shouts the black man. The white man slowly walks across the stage and pauses. If I do come back, do you know what my new name is going to be? He spits back to his friend. What's your name going to be? Asks the man in the white beret. And an in-your-face attitude. Rain Man, replies the white rapper, whose stage name is Eminem. There's a heavy drum roll accompanied by piped-in music from somewhere above. Put your hands in the air, shouts Eminem, gesticulating wildly at the audience, gone numb from the noise and the excitement of the moment. Say, Rain Man, shouts Eminem to the crowd. Rain Man! More than 50,000 people at Yankee Stadium in New York shouts back. Hands in the air, waving back and forth. Over the next 4 minutes, the words Rain Man are repeated over 40 times by the performance on stage and an equal number of times by the frenzied crowd. In between, the two men sing in unison, you find me offensive. I find you offensive for finding me offensive. I aimed to be calm when I got to this level of fame, possessed by the devil, by the name, Rain Man. Later in Eminem's Old Time's Sake, he returns to the familiar theme. Speak of the devil, its attack of the Rain Man, chainsaw in hand, bloodstain on my apron. In fact, Eminem is one of a large number of mainstream and highly popular performers. I was shocked when he came out in support of Kamala. He usually you know, he had before that, he had always been the one to poke fun at whoever was untouchable or seemingly in the mainstream. So when he did that, I was just, my jaw hit the floor. Okay. In fact, Eminem is one of a large number of mainstream and highly popular performers who sing about someone called Rain Man. Others who use the same motif in their performance are Rihanna in her song Umbrella, where the words rain and umbrella appear in the chorus and throughout the song, accompanied by images of heads. Wait, nope. By images of, sorry, I moved the book and now my brain said, accompanied by images of Rihanna and her dance troupe soaking wet with rain falling on their heads. Others, such as rapper Fat Joe Fat Joe Feet, F-E-A-T, and his Make It Rain, someone called Savage, and his Wild Out, Blackstone Cherry, and their popular rendition of Blind Man. Interesting, I toured with Blackstone Cherry. And Jamie Foxx with his particular version of Rain Man. Is it a coincidence that so many mainstream artists sing about someone called Rain Man? Or is there more to it? Let's take a closer look at the words themselves. Fox sings the following in a chorus. Release me. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. Rain Man, Rain Man, Rain Man. Rappers The Game in their song Cali Sunshine sing with more A than delicious. That's my flower of love. We make it rain like Rain Man when we play with the glove. In Jay-Z featuring Usher and Pharrell's song Anything, we have amateur pole dancing, come and get this cash for me. They called me Rain Man. She tried to rain dance. Rappers are not the only ones to use the term Rain Man in their lyrics. Heavy metal band Wasp, W-A-S-P, in their song The Burning Man, now this is the 80s, also mention it. Back in the 60s, in Bob Dylan's Stuck Inside the Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again. And that appears in his 1966 album, Blonde on Blonde. He sings the following, now the Rain Man gives me two cures. Then he said, jump right in. And again in I Want to Be Your Lover, well, the Rain Man comes with his magic wand and the judge says Mona can't have no bond. And hip-hop artist Ya Boy plays tribute to the Rain Man in his likewise titled track, Hey Everybody Say Rain Man. No, hey everybody say, Mr. Rain Man, can we have a rainy day? Bring an umbrella. Please bring an umbrella, Ella, 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 A. Former country music superstar Tanya Tucker also sings Up to the Rain Man in a track titled Lizzie and the Rain Man. And those lyrics are, but there was one named Lizzie Cooper who said he was a lying cheat. She said, well, you call yourself the Rain Man. Well, you ought to be ashamed. Then things get really interesting and very explicit in your face. For example, listen to Jay-Z's D. Evils, so you can see. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati want my mind, soul, and body. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Secret society trying to keep their eye on me. And to Tupac, who was killed in what was believed to have been an assassination. Some say they expect Illuminati take my body to sleep. N-words at the party with their shotties, just as rowdy as me. A superstar rapper, Fatboy Slim, also mentioned them in his song entitled Illuminati. Illuminati, a secret society, do exist. Illuminati, T. Fatboy Slim is a rapper? I thought they just did dance music, but I'm not in the know in that. A drug reference, spelling 101. Good morning. I'm happy to see you. See the beginning, because Billy took center stage there for a second. And LL Cool J in I Shotcha. Illuminati want my mind and my body. Secret society trying to keep their eye on me. That is real I mean, which one came out first, LL Cool J or Jay-Z's? Because they have the same stinking lines. Now, instead of reading these lyrics as a form of amusement, ask yourself, what if what they are signaling is for real? What if someone is trying to tell you something in such an unbelievable Tavistockian way, in your face, where you could best see it? What if the people who are trying to tell you something are the very secret societies and brainwashing institutes who are trying to control the world from behind the scenes? And what if I told you that there is no such thing as coincidences in the world of spies and secret societies, in the world of smoke and mirrors, in the parallel universe where governments work their secret agenda from behind the curtain? Now, read the next lyrics from Prodigy. Oh, I love the Prodigy. I love that band so much. The track is titled Illuminati. And Keith died several years ago. The track titled Illuminati, quote, "It took me 33 years, 33, for me to see the truth. Ever so clear, I was too young. I couldn't articulate myself the right way. Son, but now let me break it down, pass it all around. This is not a theory. The conspiracy is real. They want to put me in a straitjacket in a padded room and tell the world there's 12 monkeys in a padded room. Oh, no, no. There's 12 monkeys, so they can be confused. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Secret society trying to keep their eye on me. Wow. 3 different artists use the same exact lines, and they branded Keith from The Prodigy, who's dead now, as crazy. And then he sewer slided himself. I'm trying to use words that don't get me in trouble. So why would all these allegedly uncouth rappers, country musicians, and rockers sing about something called the Illuminati, the New World Order, Rain Man, and Umbrella? In fact, it is becoming even more widespread and common. Listen to a rapper, Puff Daddy, in Young G's. N-words that got killed in the field and all the babies born. Now they ain't fully prepared for this new world order. That guy. Have you seen The Reckoning? Because that was something. We'll say that was something. I went in there, I only wanted to watch the first episode, and then I was up all night watching all of them. And it's not just lyrics that contain these references. Music videos are also full of occult symbolism, such as the Ankh, ancient Egyptian symbol for eternal life, the all-seeing eye of God, pentacles, pyramids, not to mention the Masonic black and white checkered floor. We can imagine what a new world order is. And we have heard of the Illuminati, thanks in part to Dan Brown's popular fiction. But who is this Rain Man? Dan Brown did Angels and Demons. So my dad had such an influence on me, and he had bookshelves and books, and I've been helping my mom move, and I'm like delving into all of my old junk from the 90s, 80s and 90s. And I'm getting a bunch of his books, like science fiction and poetry and signed first editions and stuff. I'm super excited. But the first chapter book I ever read was Helter Skelter. And somebody had asked me if I had read Chaos, and that was one of the first in, I think that was Candace's first book club book. And I just so happened to have got it while I was at Barnes and Noble. I take my kids there. And when it came out, I had seen Thomas O'Neill on Joe Rogan, and I was like, man, because the first chapter book outside of Nancy Drew I read was Helter Skelter. And when I read it, I was just captivated. And my dad being a criminal defense attorney, I used to sneak into his briefcase and look at his case files. Just utterly curious my whole life. I'm so grateful for that in me. And maybe that'll explain why my behavior on YouTube. But oh, he was amazing. Oh, and Dan Brown, that's what I was talking about. That's why I turned away. Angels and Demons, I read that too, and the codes. And I love that a lot of fiction writers help us to see the truth. So, and he has such a collection of, such a collection of science fiction books that it's all, I don't know. Let me continue. So, why in plain sight? You might be wondering why, if a conspiracy of silence to control the world truly exists, the supposed masters of the universe, instead of hiding it, elect to promote it through songs, videos, and Hollywood film. The truth of the matter is that secret societies love to hide things in plain sight, and not only through videos and lyrics. What if I told you that the JFK assassination was a ritual slaying? What is known in the world of the occult is the killing of the king. What if I gave you enough evidence to show you that this is so, despite the official version of the events, wherein we are told a lone assassin killed the president with a magic bullet? And they said the same stuff with Charlie. They said it was a miracle and he had a neck of steel. Turns out it was Erica who said that, who tried to say that Andrew Colvett talked to the surgeon who said that, when it was just not the case. To understand the Kennedy assassination and place it within the realm of Tavistock mind control, secret societies, one world conspiracy, and the Nazi occult, you must open the doors of perception into another world of the unknown by changing the way we look upon the details and the fantastic convergences of life. This is the way ancient man perceived the world, encompassing a vision that detects every link and every symbol, beginning with the significance of names, then places, necessarily including lines of latitude and longitude, and the division of degrees in geography and cartography, and then the obsessive actions which stem from the confluence of the two, which would have come to be known as ritual. Symbolism and other types of reference can be flagrant and subconsciously picked up, but on a conscious level will not be seen by the naked eye. In film and videos, this type of subliminal messaging is achieved using scenes that contain brief flashes of light and dark and quickly alternating video frames. I think we were first introduced to that with Fight Club. Thanks, Viddy. Yes. Yep. All right. At times, I'm so glad we're on the same page. I'm glad you're here with me. And I always say that, but I mean it. Okay. At times, the symbolism is blatantly clear and easily identifiable. But because the meaning of the references behind it are unknown to most people, the brain simply filters it out as insignificant and meaningless. However, none of it is meaningless. You will be shocked to see how nothing was left to chance in the JFK assassination, despite the apparent scenes of chaos and discontent. In penetrating the secrets of secret societies and symbols, it would be helpful to consider a dictum of Einsteinian physics. Write James Shelby downward and Michael A. Hoffman too, quote, time relations among events are assumed to be first constituted by the specific physical relations obtaining between them. End quote. Secret societies, Masonic lodges, cults, and spooks use secret symbols to show their affiliation. The eternal pagan psychodrama is escalated under these modern conditions precisely because sorcery is not what 20th century man can accept as real. And if you were following along to the protocols, you see where those originated. They needed secret societies and they developed them. Go watch my protocols. In their underground bestseller, King-Kill/33, I want you to see it, James Shelby Downward and Michael A. Hoffman explain the mechanics of the assassination. Quote, keep in mind that the ultimate purpose of John Fitzgerald Kennedy's assassination was not political or economic, but sorcerous. For the control of the dreaming mind and the marshaling of his forces is the omnipotent force in the entire scenario of lies, cruelty, and degradation. Remember that once you spread the deadly virus, the disease will do the rest. Something died in the American people on November 22nd, 1963. Call it idealism, innocence, or the quest for moral excellence. That reminds me, I watched a documentary on Charles Bukowski, whom I love. And in it, his ex-wife was, I guess she was interviewed. She discussed the assassination of JFK and how it affected her so deeply, it threw her hormones out of balance. And I thought that was kooky. That was a kooky summation. But maybe she was tapping into something. She had a bigger inner awareness than most. Okay, something died within the American people, blee, blee, blee. It is the transformation of human beings, which is the authentic reason and motive for the Kennedy murder. The more one studies mind control, secret societies, and the occult, the more one understands the subtlety and hidden symbolism, the so-called science of names, word, wizardly. Okay, and this is a quote. I'm not sure who says it, but I think they'll end with who says it. So the more one understands the subtlety and hidden symbolism, the so-called science of names, word wizardry behind the scenes of Kennedy's assassination, the JFK assassination encounters this science in a decisive way and contains a veritable nightmare of symbol complexes having to do with violence, perversion, conspiracy, death, and degradation. Let's take a closer look. It says 14. Let me see what that says. Michael Hoffman. Okay, that's who he's quoting. The Killing of the King is the next section. James Shelby Downward's underground classic entitled Sorcery, Sex, Assassination, and the Science of Symbolism links American historical events with a grand occult plan of secret societies. His investigative work on the startling links within the Kennedy assassination has remained unmatched long after his death. Downward writes, quote, President Kennedy and his wife left the Temple, Houston, and were met at midnight by tireless crowds present to cheer the virile sun god and his dazzling erotic wife, the Queen of Love and Beauty, in Fort Worth. On the morning of November 22nd, they flew to Gate 28 at Love Field, Dallas, Texas. The number 28 is one of the correspondences of Solomon in Kabbalistic numerology. The Solomonic name assigned to 28 is Beal. On the 28th degree of latitude in the state of Texas is the site of what was once the Kennedy Ranch. On the 28th degree is also Cape Canaveral, from which the moon flight was launched, made possible not only by the president's various feats, but by his death as well. For the placing of the Freemasons on the moon could occur only after the killing of the king. The 28th degree of Templarism is the King of the Sun degree. The president and the first lady arrived in Air Force One, codenamed Angel. The motorcade proceeded from Love Field to Dealey Plaza. Dealey Plaza is the site of the Masonic Temple in Dallas, now razed, so demolished, and there is a marker attesting to this fact in the plaza, and I've been there. I'll never forget. It felt spooky. I looked out the window. I was like, how was he able to get a shot there? Important protective strategy for Dealey Plaza was planned by the New Orleans CIA station, whose headquarters were a Masonic temple building. Why New Orleans CIA station? Okay, Dallas, Texas is located 10 miles north of the 33rd degree of latitude. The 33rd degree is the highest in Freemasonry, and the founding lodge of the Scottish Rite in America was created in Charleston, South Carolina, exactly on the 33rd degree line. And Cash Patel was stoked to say it took 33 hours to find Tyler Robinson. I quote his name because who knows exactly what his role was other than Patsy. Dealey Plaza is close to the Trinity River, which before the introduction of flood control measures submerged the place regularly. Dealey Plaza, therefore, symbolizes both the trident and its bearer, the water god Neptune. To this trident, Neptune's site came the queen of love and beauty, and her spouse, the scapegoat, in the killing of the king Right. Here is a word I'm going to have trouble with. Canondeach, a Gaelic word for ugly head or wounded head. Oh my goodness. All right. Because if you haven't seen his aftermath photo, I mean, somebody even put it on their album cover. I forget which band that was. Was it Mayhem? Now get this. The queen is Jackie, and Canondeach is the Gaelic form of Kennedy. In Scotland, the Kennedy coat of arms and iconography is full of folklore. Their plant badge is an oak, and their crest has a dolphin on it. Now, what could be more coincidental than for JFK to get shot in the head near the oak tree at Dealey Plaza? Do you call that a coincidence? I feel like I just heard my mom like, yes, it would be a coincidence, because how could they plan all this stuff out like that, you know? But I believe it. Shoot, I don't think it's a coincidence. At 12:22 p.m., the motorcade proceeded down. When was Charlie shot? 12:23 p.m. At 12:22 p.m., the motorcade proceeded down Main Street towards the Triple Underpass, traveling first down Elm Street, then later was the scene of numerous gunfights, stabbing. It was traveling first down Elm Street. The latter was the scene of numerous gunfights, stabbings, and other violence, and it is the location of the Majestic Theater, the pawn shop, Negro District, and Industrial District. Elm, Main, and Commerce form a trident pattern in alignment with the Triple Underpass, as any Dallas map will show. Many analysts contend that at least 3 assassins were involved in the crossfire ambush of Kennedy. Have y'all seen the video that they say shows the driver reaching back? And that would make sense why Jackie tried to get out the back of the car, because if bullets were flying from everywhere, or the magic, whatever, if it were coming from anywhere else, I don't feel like she would have tried to climb out the back. Anyway, crossfire ambush. Okay. It is a prime tenet of Masonry that its assassins come in threes. Masonic assassins. You farted. Stinky girl. It is a prime tenet for Masonry that its assassins come in threes. Masonic assassins are known in the code of the lodge as the unworthy craftsmen. Hiram Abiff, architect of Solomon's Temple and mythic progenitor of Freemasonry, was murdered, according to Masonic legend, by 3 unworthy craftsmen. Because Masonry is obsessed with Earth as a game board, tessellation, thus the checkered Masonic board, or floor, and the ancillary alignments necessary to facilitate the game, it's inordinately concerned with railroads and railroad personnel, to the extent that outside of lawyers and circus performers, no other vocation has a higher percentage of Masons than railroad workers. My dad was an attorney. Minutes after John Fitzgerald, I started my protocols because I didn't know how to start doing live videos. I'm so new at this. Playing a cassette I found in all our past rubbish that was a recording of his Master Mason initiation. And I was fascinated by that, especially the promises and the rules and the ritual depicted. Like they have to stand toe to toe, naked chest to naked chest, and then cheek to cheek or mouth to ear. It just felt very gross. Anyway, Minutes after John Fitzgerald Kennedy was murdered, 3 hobos, unworthy craftsmen, were arrested at the rail yard behind Dealey Plaza. George Zinn, what was he doing? Anyway, no records of their identities have ever been revealed, nor the identity of the arresting officer. All that remains of those few minutes are a series of photographs, a ritual accompaniment of the Black Mass that was the ceremonial immolation of a king, the unmistakable calling card of Masonic murder, the appearance of Jubilo, and Jubilum, the 3 unworthy craftsmen, that will not be blamed for nothing. And that was like semi-quoted. This ritual symbolism is necessary for the accomplishment of the alchemical intention of the killing of the king of Camelot. Dealey Plaza breaks down symbolically in this manner. D means goddess in Latin, and li, or ley, can pertain to the law or rule in the Spanish, or lines of preternatural geographic significance in the pre-Christian nature religions of the English. Quote, the systematic arrangement and pattern of symbolic things having to do with the killing of Kennedy indicates that he was a scapegoat in a sacrifice. The purpose of such macabre ritualism is further recognizable in patterns of symbolism, culminating in the final making manifest all that is hidden. Trump might finally be the president now. Yeah, what's he going to do? How's he going to backpedal? You made what video? The more the degrees, the less light. It's an oxymoron, but if you comment on one of my posts, Zuschlz, Zuschlz, if you comment on my post, tag your video, leave the link, I would love to watch it. Lee Harvey Oswald. Oswald means divine strength. The diminutive form of the word is Oz, or Oz, O-S or O-Z, denoting strength. Divine strength is integral to the king-killing rite, the role which divine strength played in the Dealey goddess rule killing of the king ritual should be given careful consideration. One should also note the significance of Jack Ruby's killing or destroying of Oswald in reference to the ruby slippers of the Wizard of Oz, which one may deride as a fairy tale, but which nevertheless symbolizes the immense power of ruby light, also known as the laser. This is making me want to, I packed it already because we're moving. I packed a book called, oh crap, I want that to be the next book, but it was Conspiracy Theory and its Role in Shaping Modern Society by David Aronovich. Oh, it's called Voodoo History. Man, I might need to go find the box that's in for the next one, or it'll just be in the future. Oswald may have undergone biotelemetry implantation in the Soviet Union while a volunteer at a behavioral control center in Minsk. Oswald roomed with Cubans and was allegedly friendly with a Castro man identified only as being a key man. The key, of course, is one of the most important symbols in Masonry and the symbol of silence. Arlington necrology. The Kennedy and Oswald burials were both at Arlington. JFK at the National Cemetery near Washington, D.C., and Oswald at Rose Hill Cemetery near Arlington, Texas. Arlington is a word of significance in Masonic sorcery and mysticism, and it has a hidden meaning that ties in with necrolatry. At the Kennedy gravesite, there's a stone circle, and in its middle, a fire that is called an eternal flame. The fire in the middle of the circle represents a point in the circle, the same type of symbolism that is recognizable in Kennedy's bear, and coffin. Being in the center of the rotunda in the capital. A point in a circle symbolized the sun in ancient sun worship. It was also a symbol of fecundity. And if I were reading this online, I would highlight and look up that word, fecundity, with the symbolizing a phallus and a circle of vagina. Funerary rites. In the ancient mysteries, the aspirant could not claim a participation in the highest secrets until he had been placed in pastos, bed, or coffin. The placing of him in the coffin was called the symbolic death of the mysteries, and his deliverance was termed a rising from the dead. The mind, says an ancient writer quoted by Stobaeus, is afflicted in death just as it is in the initiation in the mysteries, and word answers to word, as well as thing to thing. For burial is to die and death to be initiated. The coffin in masonry is found on the tracing boards of the early part of the last century and has always constituted a part of the symbolism of the third degree, where the reference is precisely to the same as that of the pastos in the ancient mysteries. Sorry for stumbling. Yeah. And he owned a club, Jack Ruby. Sorry, I'm looking at comments. I remember in The Last Waltz, Robbie Robertson discussed how they were at a violent club and there was all these things going on. And then they found out after the fact it was Jack Ruby's club. So it must be evident to every master mason without further explanation that the 3 steps are taken from the darkness to a place of light, either figuratively or really over a coffin. The symbol of death to teach symbolically that the passage from darkness and ignorance of this life through death to the light and knowledge of eternal life. And this, from earliest times, was the true symbolism of this step. The body of President Kennedy was placed in a coffin, which was positioned at the center of a circle under the Capitol dome. The catafalque was a temporary structure of wood, appropriately decorated with funeral symbols and representing a tomb or cenotaph. It forms a part of the decorations of a sorrow lodge. This Masonic encyclopedia entry refers to the ceremonies of the third degree in lodges of the French Rite. Quote, pictures taken of the Kennedy coffin and catafalque show these 2 props of the funerary rite as a point in a circle. And there's that word again, fecundity, is the symbol of signification of the point within a circle. Can somebody look that up for me? Can you type it and highlight it and tell me what it means? Let me try that. Fecundity. I'm going to look it up. The ability to produce an abundance of offspring or new growth, fertility. Fecundity. I don't know how they try to help you pronounce it with the phonetic spelling next to the word in the dictionary. Throws me off sometimes with those upside down E's. All right, the ability to produce many ideas. Okay. That word is the symbolic signification of the point within a circle and is a derivation of ancient sun worship. Okay. In the lore of mystery cults and fertility religions was invariably the legend of the death of the hero god and the disappearance of his body. In the subsequent search and supposed finding of the body, we see the contrivance of an elaborate psychological ruse. The body was said to have been concealed by the killer or killers of the hero god. The concealment of the body was called aphanism and is a rite of the Masonic third degree. Anyone interested in comprehending the mechanics of group mind control would do well to study the third and ninth degrees in particular, and all the grades of masonry in general. I think my dad got to third degree and he was out. And then his life was just a slow burn to death. It was so brutal. What's too long? Oh, yes. Thank you for looking. Thank you for looking. Third and ninth degrees. Okay. The disappearance of the body, this aphanism, is to be found in the assassination of President Kennedy. I wish we could do this like a Zoom call and I could get your screens in there. That would be cool as a book club. Okay, the disappearance of the body, this aphanism, is to be found in the assassination of President Kennedy. Quote, the president's brain was removed and his body buried without it. Dr. Cyril Wecht, chief medical examiner of Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, past president of the American Academy of Forensic Science, and a professor of pathology and law, received permission from the Kennedy family in 1972 to view the autopsy material at the National Archives. When he routinely asked to see the brain, Wecht was told it was missing, along with the microscopic slides of the brain. Marion Johnson, curator of the Warren Commission's material at the archives, said, quote, the brain's not here. We don't know what happened to it. If and when the brain is removed, the entire process will have been completed under the terms uresis. In the Masonic Mysteries, the symbolical ladders on the Masonic tracing board in 1776, there is a ladder with 3 steps, a significant revision of the usual ladder in such references, 7 steps. There are, of course, all sorts of ladders. The Brahmanical ladder, 7 steps, the Kadosh ladder, 7 steps, the Rosicrucian ladder, 7 steps. I studied with the Rosicrucians for a time, and that was spooky. I'd love to talk about that sometime on here. And then Jacob's ladder, which has various numbers attributed to it. The Kabbalistic ladder has 10 steps. And then there is old Tim Finnegan's ladder, which is known to some as the ladder of misfortune. And it seemingly is comprised of one false step after another. After the Kennedy coffin was removed from the center of the Capitol Rotunda Circle, it was taken, with pageantry, to the street for viewing. The funeral procession made an unplanned stop on Pennsylvania Avenue in front of the Occidental restaurant, and a picture was taken of the flag draped over Kennedy's coffin with the word Occidental featured predominantly over it. In Masonry and in the lore of the Egyptian jackal god Anubis, a dead person is said to have gone west. Occidental. Let me see what that means and how it pertains to the West. Wait, Occidental. I'm going to highlight it. I realize I can do this here in the chat. Look up Occidental, relating to the countries of the West. Amazing. If you knew that already, don't judge. All right. Interesting, though, isn't it? Yesterday's book reading was intense. Yeah. Yes. We have to be careful who we allow to touch us, figuratively and spiritually. All right. So, several months after the Kennedy funeral, Occidental Life, an insurance branch of the Transamerica Corporation, ran an advertisement for group life insurance, which it proclaimed to be new, but contained a turn that was indeed original. The inferential, weird claim was made that until now, there was only one way to cash in on group insurance. Apparently, some rather profound changes were made in the manner of things as they are after the killing of the king had become a fait accompli. Before JFK began his Jornada del Muerto, his journey of death, sorry for my pronunciation, he was photographed with Yugoslavian dictator Tito on the winding stairs of the White House. Tito is a significant name in Masonry since it was the title given to Prince Herodim, the first judge and provost said to be appointed by King Solomon. The Tito was a reputed favorite of Solomon, whose temple was a hotbed of thievery, money changing, male and female prostitution, and sorcery. I wonder if that's a word I can say or not. The ancient Tito presided over the lodge of intendants of this temple and was one of the 12 knights of the 12 tribes of Israel. President Kennedy preceded Tito down the stairs to a portrait of the assassinated President Garfield, where he was photographed, and another picture was taken on the stairs before a picture of Lincoln, the Lincoln Continental limousine in which Kennedy was shot. John F. Kennedy, the one and only Catholic president of the United States, was a human scapegoat, a pharmakos. Pharmakos, or pharmakvos, can mean enchantment with drugs and sorcery, or beaten, crippled, and immolated. In alchemy, the killing of the king was symbolized by a crucified snake on a Tau cross, a variant of the crucifixion of Jesus. Quote, Jesus Christ was tortured and murdered as the result of the intrigue of the men of the Temple of Solomon, who hated and feared him. They were steeped in Egyptian, Babylonian, and Phoenician mysticism. Masonry does not believe in murdering a man in just any old way, and in the JFK assassination, it went to incredible lengths and took great risks in order to make this heinous act of theirs correspond to ancient fertility oblation of the killing of the king. Michael A. Hoffman explains that the three hobos arrested at the time of the assassination in Dallas were at least as important symbolically as operationally, and that they comprise the three unworthy craftsmen of Masonry. This symbolism is at once a telling psychological blow against the victim and his comrades, a sign of frustrated inquiry, the supposedly senseless nature of any quest into the authentic nature of the murderers, and a mirror or doppelganger of these three assassins who execute the actual murder. Three untrustworthy craftsmen of masonry, part of the rites of initiation of the master mason, which, I'm going to have to listen to that tape again, which is a third degree of masonry, are dramatic as they reveal the most enduring and most important mystery of all Masonic ritual, the legend of the murdered master. After brief ceremonies, the candidate is blindfolded as the worshipful master begins to tell him the story of the murder of Hiram Abiff, the master builder of Solomon's temple. He explains that three assailants who demand they be told the secrets of the master mason attacked Abiff. After Abiff refused to divulge the secrets, he is killed. Once King Solomon is told that the Grand Master has disappeared, Solomon orders that all the workers search for the missing Grand Master. Finally, King Solomon is told that the three fellow craftsmen, Jubala, Jubalo, and Jubalum, are missing. The three assassins are eventually captured and killed on orders of King Solomon. Thus ends the initiation of the Master Mason. Most interesting of the third degree. I didn't listen to the whole tape. I wonder if that's in there. Thus ends the initiation of the Master Mason. Most interesting of the three degrees because it contains the unexplained allegory that gave Freemasonry its central identification with the construction of the Temple of Solomon. As for the three assassins themselves, Perry Raymond Russo told a New Orleans grand jury that the CIA agent David Ferry said, parentheses, regarding the assassination of JFK, that there would have to be a minimum of 3 people involved. 2 of the persons would shoot diversionary shots, and the third shot the good shot. Ferry said that one of the 3 would have to be the scapegoat. He also said that Ferry discoursed on the availability of exit, saying the sacrificed man would give the 2 others time to escape. And George Zim was then pegged with CP on his phone. But then there's Tyler Robinson, who's on trial. So there's another. Whoever put that friggin' microphone on his collar, I think. Yes, I'd love to tell you about my Rosicrucian experience, and they all connect, and it seems to go back all the way. I'll just leave that there. Next up, we have the Warren Commission, and I'm going to drink my coffee that is cold now. Man, I thought this would be, I see I've been on for an hour. I thought this would be shorter. The Warren Commission. Mason Lyndon Johnson appointed Mason Earl Warren to investigate the death of Catholic Kennedy. Mason and member of the 33rd degree, Gerald R. Ford, was instrumental in suppressing what little evidence of a conspiratorial nature reached the commission. One sec, I gotta get rid of this. Sorry, it's kind of gross. Responsible for supplying information to the commission was Mason and member of the 33rd degree, J. Edgar Hoover. Former CIA director and Mason Allen Dulles was responsible for most of his agency's data supplied to the panel. It is paranoid to be suspicious of the findings of the panel on these grounds. Is it paranoid? That was a question. Would it be paranoid to suspect a panel of Nazis appointed to investigate the death of a Jew, or to suspect a commission of Klansmen appointed to investigate the death of a Black person? Dr. Albert McKay Mason, member of the 33rd degree, foremost Masonic historian of the 19th century, writing in the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Gosh, my tongue is getting ahead of myself. Let me start that over, that paragraph. Dr. Albert McKay, Mason, member of the 33rd degree, foremost Mason. Nope, don't lick me. You've been eating poop. Foremost Masonic historian of the 19th century, writing in the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, defined hoodwink as a symbol for the secrecy, silence, and darkness in which the mysteries of our art should be preserved from the unhallowed gaze of the profane. Quote, this is how they see us, as profane, as cowens or outsiders, unclean and too perverted to look upon the hallowed truths. Goyim, hashtag Goyim. Yes, murder, sexual atrocities, mind control, attacks against the people of the United States, all of these things are so elevated, so lofty, and holy as to be beyond the view of mere humans. Truth or consequences? Is that just a place? District Attorney for New Orleans, James Garrison, was supported by a Truth or Consequences club and is alleged to have been an ex-FBI agent and to have been mentally disturbed at one time. Jim Garrison was an outsider in the secret society machinations of the FBI and may very well have been pharmacologically or hypnotically induced to set up his ill-fated investigation. Nope, yucky. And the position he acquired in the Truth or Consequences Commission. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, is a town located in the 33rd degree parallel latitude. Oh my gosh. I go to New Mexico semi-often for air races. And I always think, what a cool town name. Truth or Consequences, New Mexico is located on the 33rd degree of parallel latitude. Near the same latitude, John Fitzgerald Kennedy became an oblation, and on the same latitude is the chief temple on this planet in the minds of sorcerers, namely the Temple of Solomon at Jerusalem, which was once located there and is sworn to be rebuilt on the 33rd degree. All right, you're shedding on me. Can you lay down? Can you lay down? Lay down. Your breath stinks. Lay down. Be a good listener. Lay down. Oh, thank you. Good girl. In a literal, alchemical sense, the making manifest of all that is hidden is the accomplishment of the third law of the alchemists, and is as yet unfulfilled, or at least not completed. The other two have been the creation and destruction of primordial matter, the detonation of the first atomic bomb at the Trinity site at White Sands, New Mexico, and on the 33rd degree of parallel, breaking apart and joining together, are the first principles of alchemy. And both Hiroshima and Nagasaki are on the 33rd degree line of either parallel or not parallel, of longitude or latitude. I forget which. I just watched a short of was it a Korean professor talking about all the significance of the 33rd degree in longitude and latitude. So this is striking me as super interesting. So the atomic bomb broke apart the positive and negative male and female elements that compose primordial matter, culminating untold thousands of years of alchemical speculation and practice. The killing of the king at the Trinity site at Dealey Plaza, Dallas, near the 33rd degree line of latitude. Quote, only the repetition of information presented in conjunction with knowledge from this mechanism of making manifest of all that is hidden provides the sort of boldness and will which can demonstrate that we are aware of all the enemies, all the opponents, and all the tricks and gadgetry. Yet we are still not dissuaded, that we work for the truth for the sake of the truth. Amen. Let the rest take upon themselves and their children the consequences of their action. That's what I mean. And that's what I said in that post. Like, I am using my rights here in disseminating the information I am witnessing or coming across so that I can somehow maintain the rights of my children to do the same. We have to act now as individuals because the collective is absolutely batty. Who has a cold? My Billy Goat? I call her, she's Billie Jean. Billie G. It's evolved. Billy Goat. She used to chew everything up. Nope. Stay. Thank you. No. You're bothering me. Oh my gosh. All right. Where was I? Only the repetition of information presented. Nope, I read that. All right, so we're moving on to the alchemy of ritual murder, and I think this is so relevant. Michael Hoffman, author of Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, and an expert in the Kennedy assassination, explains, quote, what ought to be unambiguous to any student of mass psychology is the almost immediate decline of the American people in the wake of this shocking televised slaughter. There are people in the wake. Ooh, stop. Nope. There are people in the wake. Nope. Yes, people in the wake of this shocking. Nope. There are many indicators of the transformation. Within a year, Americans had largely switched from softer toned, naturally colored cotton clothing to garish colored artificial polyesters. Mhm. Popular music became louder, faster, and more cacophonous. Drugs appeared for the first time outside the bohemian sculpture subculture ghettos in the mainstream. Extremes of every kind came into fashion. Revolutions in cognition and behavior were on the horizon, from the Beatles to Charles Manson, from free love to LSD. The killers were not caught. The Warren Commission was a whitewash. There was a sense that men who ordered the assassination were grinning somewhere over their cocktails, and out of this, a nearly psychedelic wonder seized the American population. An awesome shiver before the realization that whoever could kill a president of the United States in broad daylight and get away with it could get away with anything, with anything. A hidden government behind the visible government of these United States became painfully obvious in a kind of subliminal way and lent an undercurrent of the hallucinogenic to our reality. Welcome to Oz, thanks to the men behind Oswald and Ruby. There was a transfer of power in the collective group mind, the American masses, from the public power of the elected frontman chief executive to an unelected, invisible collage, no, it's college, capable of terminating him with impunity. For the first time in their history since the 1826 Masonic assassination of writer William Morgan, Americans were forced to confront the vertiginous reality of a hidden power ruling their world. Sir James Frazer, writing The Golden Bough, A Study in Magic and Religion, explains that when the divine king is murdered by one who is himself stronger or craftier, those powers of divinity which were the king's are sympathetically and contagiously transferred from the vanquished to the victor. The energy of the awareness in the subconscious group, dreaming mind of the American masses, instituted a new simulacrum. The shocking introduction of a diametrically different new reality is a classic scenario of another phase of alchemical programming known to the cryptocracy as clamorers. Now the American people were forced to confront a scary alternative reality, the reality of a shadow government over which they had neither control or knowledge. Oh my goodness, Ricky. That's incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's never happened to me before. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you. I have to take a picture of that. I'm sorry. Oh my, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's never happened to me before. Ricky 2 times. I always think of that guy in is it Casino? No. I'm gonna go get the papers when I see your name. Thank you so much. That's so appreciative. That's so appreciative. I appreciate you is what I mean. And yes, I guess you're showing me how wonderful. Thank you. I have no idea where I was. Oh. A hidden government behind the visible government of these United States became painfully obvious in a kind of subliminal way and lent an undercurrent of the hallucinogenics to our reality. Welcome to Oz. Oh, I definitely read that. And that was such a sentence. Welcome to Oz, thanks to the men behind Oswald and Ruby. That means so much to me. I never thought anybody would do that. I mean, YouTube set me up for it. Oh. Thank you. Justin. Psst, psst, psst. Oh, you missed me. All right. For the first time in their history since the 1826 Masonic assassination of writer William Morgan. I read that too. I'm sorry, you guys. Let me get back. The entry of the awareness into the subconscious group dreaming mind of the American masses instituted. Nope. I am now back on it. So we are a minute 20 in. I think I spent a good 5 minutes just trying to recover from my first ever super chat. Thank you. All right. Now, the American people were forced to confront a scary alternative reality, the reality of a shadow government over which they had neither control nor knowledge. I read that too, but that's all right. The sheep herding process was thus accelerated with vengeance. Avant-garde advertising, music, politics, and new world hereafter depict, especially in the electronic media, something fleetingly, sometimes openly, sometimes fleetingly, sometimes openly. I got my first super chat. That means somebody sent me $20.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Amazing. I almost cried. Thank you. All right. A shadow side of reality, an underground, almost immoral funhouse. I am. The static image of the suit and tie talking heads of establishment, religion, government, politics, and business were subtly shown to subordinate to the shadow state, which the American people were gradually getting a bigger glimpse of out of the corner of their collective eye. The interesting function of this phenomenon is that it simultaneously produces both terror and adulation and undercuts any offensive against it among its percipients, which does not possess the same jump cut speed and funhouse ambiance. Quote, there is a sense of existing in a palace of marvels manipulated by beautiful but satanic princes, possessed of so much knowledge, power, and experiences as to be vastly superior to the rest of humanity. They have been everywhere. They have done everything. They run the show that mesmerizes us. We are determined to watch it. We are transfixed and desperate to see their newest production, their latest thrilling revelation, even when the thrills are solely based upon the further confirmation of our dehumanization. As author and JFK investigator J.G. Ballard explains, quote, in this overlit realm ruled by images of the space race and the Vietnam War, the Kennedy assassination, and the suicide of Marilyn Monroe, a unique alchemy of the imagination was taking place. The demise of feeling and emotion, the death of affect, presided like a morbid sun over the playground of that ominous decade. The role assigned to us is that of zombies, called upon by our shadow masters to perform bit parts and act as stock characters in their spectacular show. This mesmerizing process, a demoralized, cynical double mind. Double mind is as in subliminal messages, as in mysterious synchronicities, as in occult realm which swept through the post-war events with a rapier as we looked down upon the barrel of the gun, exposing the unctuous underbelly of a yet-to-be identified form. Perception changes, and we find ourselves back in the cave watching shadows on the wall, believing them to be real. All the tradition tells us that some experts go the wrong way, and the brothers of the left-hand path, or black magicians. They use their hard-won knowledge and insight to further their own very personal and often sinister ends. A program of propaganda, mass trauma, celebrity worship, and murder, reconstituting our cultural archetypes into malleable imprints, an esoteric ride that transcends our current slouching shadow play, nervously awaiting the next shock. Rihanna's up next. Kindness is powerful. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate your presence. Thank you for watching. Rihanna and somebody, I think who is on here, named her daughter Amanda Rihanna. And I think that's beautiful. All right. The curtain is drawn and we are back in the real world. The coffin has been removed and the checkered floor scrubbed and polished. Lights, camera, music. So what does a subliminal message look like? Here's an example. Robin Rihanna Fenty, better known simply as Rihanna, is a Barbadian-born R&B recording artist. I love her. Her 2007 album, Good Girl Gone Bad, which peaked at number 2 on the Billboard 200 charts, featured 5 top 10 hits, including 3 U.S. number 1 hit singles, among them Umbrella. She has also amassed over 1 billion views on YouTube, becoming only the 4th artist to do so. If you pay close attention to her video for Umbrella, you may have noticed something very disturbing about it. A digitally mastered image that simply does not fit in the video unless there was an ulterior reason to include it, like a subliminal message, for example. In one of the frames, Rihanna spreads her arm, pushing away the rainwater falling on her. As a result, if you freeze frame it, you can clearly see an image of a goat's head. Or is it Baphomet? Are we hallucinating? Is it trick photography? And if it isn't, then what's it doing there? Perhaps it was an accident, a quirk of nature. Perhaps we are making too much of it, or perhaps not. Basic fluid dynamics will tell you that her body and arm movements cannot create the liquid formation in the clearly visible form of a goat head. You know I'm about to go look that video up. Not only that, but the liquid clearly comes out from the location of Rihanna's womb. Exaggerating? Keep in mind that music videos are created in a fully controlled studio environment. Therefore, if something is in this music video, you can be certain it was meant to be there. Let me give you another example. In Eminem's Mosh video clip, there is an image of the Eye of Providence, an all-seeing eye that can be traced back to Egyptian mythology, and the Eye of Horus. Many interpret it as the all-seeing eye of secret societies, controlling the world from beyond the scenes. It's there, painted over an image of American soldiers, with the headline reading, Congress okays $87 billion for Iraq. Most people understand the Eye of Providence as the all-seeing eye, the symbol of Illuminati, the one world government, but it is also the symbol of the supreme being, the great architect of the universe, because it appears on every US dollar, above a topless pyramid, and a Masonic symbol for the unfinished Temple of Solomon. However, there are other more sinister interpretations. The cult of Isis. We're getting into it. Yeah. 33rd degree, isn't it? Isn't that interesting? If we just look at a globe and like go around those lines. Interesting. Somebody says they have Tourette's when industry subliminal is going on in the room. Tell me your name or something that I can call you. Zeus Schultz. Is it Zeus? HZ? Zeus Hertz? Anyway, I'm sorry. But give me something. So the cult of Isis. Did I already read it? Oh, no. The Eye of Horus formed part of an evil cult of Isis, created as a synthetic religion under the Ptolemaic conquerors of Europe, or of Egypt. I love how my brain just fills in random words. Craig. Zeus. Craig. Good to meet you, sir. This cult was created by the priests of Delphi cult of Apollo. My mom just named her baby horse Apollo. Well, my niece's pieces did. I wanted to name him because she has Lieutenant Dan as a horse and Jenny, and so I wanted to name the baby Forrest. Thought it would make sense. My brother he works in the space program, and he wanted to name it Apollo, or his daughter did. Well, so maybe, I don't know, but his name is Apollo, so it's interesting. The cult of Apollo at Delphi used the selected names of deities from the Egyptian pantheon to create a cult combining the Babylonian cultism of Apollo and the Orphic and Dionysian cults of Greece. The Orphic (death cults) of Greece were centered around the figure Osiris. The Egyptian goddess Isis was given the legendary and personal properties of the mother of Dionysus, and the Oedipal incestuous mythology around the three combined figures, Osiris, Isis, and Horus, was based on the mythology of the Phrygian cult of Dionysus, or the Roman equivalent of the cult Bacchus, the cult of Bacchus. That was a whole lot. Okay, there are other examples. This guy doesn't, anyway, it's two rappers and a DJ. In Prodigy's video clip, The Life, there's a split, or is there a rapper named Prodigy? The Life, there's a split-second image of the all-seeing eye painted on the wall. What's it doing there, and what does it have to do with the song? Nothing. In Lady Gaga's Alejandro video clip, the lead male dancer had an imprint of a pyramid and an all-seeing eye on the back of his jean jacket, while Lady Gaga was making an all-seeing eye sign with her right hand while bending over his outstretched leg. Not to be outdone, U2's Yahweh is full of Masonic images, from the all-seeing eye on a cross to a pyramid with the eye of providence. In Rihanna's Umbrella, she is walking on a checkered, tiled Masonic floor. The Masonic mosaic pavement there is also present in Jay Sean's Down video clip. We now know that and it's all over. Like Justin Bieber has a song where it's all fan art, and there's a lot of Masonic symbolism in that. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We all know that Freemasonry's origins are linked to the once powerful and wealthy Knights Templar order. The Knights Templar basis for the mosaic pavement is simple. The battle banner of the Knights, the Bosant, was a vertical design consisting of a black block above a white block below. The black block signified the black world of sin the Templar had left behind, and the white block symbolized the pure life he had adopted as a soldier for Christ. So why do secret societies hide things in plain sight? Among many reasons, according to their belief system, to influence world politics at the most urgent time through reverse psychology. Symbols, don't forget, also represent territorial marks of ownership. By controlling all the major corporations on Earth and embedding Masonic and occult references in the media, subliminally or otherwise, secret societies are projecting their strength. The power of the image is not only visual, it is a sophisticated tool designed to convey meaning on the one hand and disorient on the other. It is a form of psychological assault with the number one target to destabilize the victim's rational belief system. Given that the references make little reasonable sense to most people, we simply tend to assume that the symbols are coincidence and reject out of hand the existence of the occult. Needless to say, Hollywood's is the best tool to project the subliminal messages across. In the movie Angels and Demons, for example, the Illuminati are referenced by the name In the movie Angel and Demons, for example, the Illuminati are referred to by name. Hollywood's rendition of the Illuminati theme makes them look very evil and very outdated. A sect of sorts from the bygone age, clinging on to their ancient rituals and quaint symbols, such as keys and maps. This is a very clever tactic as the viewer scoffs at anyone who mentions the Illuminati by name outside of the prearranged and controlled Hollywood environment. Let us take a closer look at the mentioned Rain Man and umbrella. They may be defined in the following way. Umbrella, a collapsible canopy that protects from the rain or sun. Object like an umbrella, something that gives support, protection, and authority. Umbrella in Latin also translates to shadow under the influence of umbra. Umbra can also mean phantom or ghost. Necronomicon. That's also a book I read when I was a kid. Man, I almost knew it was naughty and I shouldn't touch it, but I was so curious. Okay, the name, I think it was like 13 or something. I can't imagine my 13-year-old. I don't have one yet, but they're on their way, and I sure wouldn't appreciate them. Actually, I don't know. I don't want to hide anything from them. Anyway, excuse me. The name Umbra appears in the Necronomicon, which is a fictional occult book with demonology by H.P. Lovecraft. When the word rain is used as an individual's name, it takes on another meaning. Gosh, is your collar too tight? Bevo, I'm taking it off. The name rain means abundant blessings. Another meaning, nope, from above, abundant blessings from above. By combining the different definitions of the word, rain can come up with other possible meanings. Someone who likes to make it rain, throwing a lot of money away, someone who can give you any woman or man you desire. Ooh, like Jelaine? Ugh, that got dark. Someone who can make you rich and famous. You might be asking yourself if there's any physical proof of Rain Man in Rihanna's video. There is indeed, and your subconscious mind picked it up near the beginning of the video. The image in question is of Rihanna inside a triangle, bent on her knees, head bowed, body leaning forward, arms pulled back over her shoulder blades. However, several things immediately stand out about this frame. First of all, it appears that Rihanna is bent over, her head bowed low, her face against the floor, her legs are parted, and her arms outstretched, angled behind her. The frame is dualistic in nature. It tells two stories at the same time. When you look at her hair, there is only a few strands falling towards the ground. How is it possible if her head is fully bowed? Due to gravity, shouldn't all of her hair be leaning down towards the ground? Secondly, there are anatomical impossibilities present in the image. I mean, hairspray? I don't remember what her hair looked like in that video. So the distance between Rihanna's bowed head and shoulders is anatomically disproportionate, given the relative position of her trapezius muscles and pectoralis major muscles. Rihanna's neck would have to be 11 inches long in order for her head to reach that low. From the position in the frame, her neck would also have to be outstretched downward at an anatomically impossible angle. But this is not all. The fact that we can simultaneously see the trapezius muscles and her pectoralis major muscles indicates that this frame has been doctored, changed, or digitally edited. Trapezius muscles and the pectoralis muscles are posterior and anterior, respectively. In other words, they are opposite of each other, one existing at one's back and the other at one's front. Then, how is it possible that we are able to see both of them simultaneously? Obviously, the image was altered, changed, and adapted to show something different. Look at the image again. Eyes, eyebrows, small forehead, snout, mouth, horns. As a result of this alteration, the image we are actually seeing is of a rain man or the devil. Why do we not see this in the first place? Because the frame which creates the subliminal stimuli is located below an individual's absolute threshold for conscious perception, which makes it only accessible on a subconscious level. Visual stimuli may be quickly flashed before an individual may process them, or flashed and then masked, thereby interrupting the processing. In the movie Gladiator, for example, the character Maximus is taken to be killed and the word Kennedy flashes on the screen. At the end, when Commodus stabs him, the word appears again. But you missed it, didn't you? Yeah. Why? Because the frame of film went by so quickly, the naked eye could not register it, but your subconscious mind could have. In the end, one is left wondering whether it is possible for Hollywood and the music industry to have been used as a tool of secret special interests, and whether the selection of themes, scripts, actors, studios, producers, directors was at times and during certain periods of international or domestic tensions politically motivated or the result of an intelligence agenda of far-sighted psychological warfare. See, so what I'm going to do if I ever get a super again, and what I'm going to do with that $20 you gave me is I'm going to invest it into this channel. Anything y'all send me will go into this so we can build it together. I want to get an encoder so that I can have me on screen plus my computer so I can pull up Rihanna's music video or 300 and see if I can't find that Kennedy flash, because I'm going to do that by myself, and I wish I could bring you along with me, just so that we can see these things play out. Thank you, Ricky. It's great to see you. Maybe I'll see you on Candace's chat room or chat. Excellent. Craig, it's great to meet you. I haven't seen your name in my lives. If you need to catch up, I play it in the background. You can learn about those protocols. I don't know if you did. Yes. I can't wait to grow with you guys and your encouragement and support. So I thank you so much. Billy Goat does too. And we'll see you tomorrow.